Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. On the map, Washington, D.C. sits on the east coast of the United States, nestled between Maryland and Virginia, along the Potomac River. It's not the biggest city in America. It's not the richest. And it's not even part of a state. Yet somehow, this city controls the most powerful government on Earth. Today, the Washington metropolitan area is home to over 6 million people, while the city itself has around 700,000 residents. Washington is famous for the White House, the U.S. Capitol, the Supreme Court, monuments, museums, and global diplomacy. But that raises the core question of this video. Backhand index pointing right. Why is Washington, D.C. like this? Backhand index pointing right. Why was it built here, from scratch, instead of using an existing city? Backhand index pointing right, and how did it evolve from a swampy political experiment into a global power capital? To answer that, we have to go back to the very beginning. When and why it was founded. Washington, D.C. was founded in 1790, after intense political debate. The early United States had a problem. Northern states wanted the capital in the north. Southern states wanted it in the south. The compromise? Backhand index pointing right. Build a brand new capital, in neutral territory, between both regions. Who founded it? George Washington personally selected the location. Pierre L'Enfant, a French engineer, designed the city. This was not an organic city like New York or Boston. Washington was planned before it existed. The old city vision. L'Enfant imagined grand avenues, wide boulevards, monumental buildings. A capital meant to look powerful, not commercial. But early Washington struggled. Early struggles. Muddy streets. Sparse population. Swamps and mosquitoes. Few jobs outside government. For decades, Washington was mocked as a failed capital. Washington exists here because of geography and politics combined. Natural features. Potomac River access to trade and transport. Gentle hills good for drainage and defense. Inland from the coast safer from naval attacks. Climate. Hot, humid summers. Mild winters. 4 distinct seasons. Why it developed here. This location sat between north and south. Was close to early population centers. Allowed river transport without ocean vulnerability. Washington wasn't chosen for beauty or wealth. It was chosen for balance and control. Old Washington. Radial avenues crossing a grid. Inspired by Paris and Versailles. Designed to showcase power and order. Key rule. Backhand index pointing right. No skyscrapers. Buildings were capped in height to keep monuments dominant. Modern Washington. Downtown remains low-rise. Power is horizontal, not vertical. Suburbs exploded outward instead. Sprawl. Because the city can't grow up, it grew out. Maryland suburbs. Northern Virginia tech corridors. Massive commuter zones. Washington looks calm on the surface, but sprawls aggressively underneath. Old city transport. Riverboats on the Potomac. Early rail connections in the 1800s. Modern systems. Washington Metro, one of the busiest in the U.S. Extensive commuter rail. Major highways feeding the capital. 3 major airports. Reagan National. Dulles International. Baltimore-Washington International. Is Washington walkable? Backhand index pointing right. Yes, by American standards, especially near the core. But most power workers commute from far outside the city. Old economy. Originally. Government clerks. Printing. Construction. Military administration. Modern economy. Washington's economy is built on power. Federal government. Defense contractors. Lobbying firms. Think tanks. Global NGOs. Cybersecurity and tech. Major employers. Federal agencies. Lockheed Martin. Booz Allen Hamilton. Amazon, HQ2 nearby. People don't move to Washington to build companies. They move here to influence decisions. Historic areas. Georgetown old money, colonial roots. Capitol Hill political insiders. DuPont Circle diplomats and professionals. Modern divides. Wealth concentrated near power centers. Working-class neighborhoods pushed outward. Rapid gentrification reshaping the city. Washington's map is also a map of influence. Old Washington. Quiet. Bureaucratic. Temporary population. New Washington. International food scene. Museums, mostly free. Protests and political events. Constant global attention. Sports teams. Commanders, NFL. Wizards, NBA. Nationals, MLB. The vibe? Backhand index pointing right, educated, ambitious, tense, and globally connected. This is a city where everyone is here for a reason. Challenges. Extremely high housing costs. Traffic congestion. Political polarization. Climate risks, flooding near the Potomac. Fun facts. Washington has no voting representation in Congress. The city was burned by the British in 1814. No building can overshadow the capital. The future. Expanding suburbs. More tech integration. Growing role in global diplomacy. Continued struggle between residents and federal control. Washington's future depends on how America defines power itself. Washington, D.C. is not a city that grew naturally. It was designed to control, not to trade. Planned for power, not profit. The old city represents ideals. Order. National unity. The new city represents influence. Global politics. The business